Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be reading a multi-character X-Reader by me. So let's get into it. Albedo. The two of you were on a work trip and you had prepared everything. And you were quite sure that you booked 2 rooms. So when you went to the place, and each of you were supposed to take the keys to your room, it just so happened that the other room that you booked was occupied. And even though it was the hotel's fault, since you booked already, Albedo forgave them. Because it was an old lady who was very sick and needed a place to stay near the hospital. So he just let it pass. And the two of you went up to your now shared bedroom. And you were supposed to sleep. I'll sleep on the couch. Albedo shook his head. If you want me to sleep on the couch, I will. But I can't let you do that. You can take the bed. You blushed brightly, shaking your head. And after a lot of going back and forth, you ended up sleeping on the same bed. You really didn't think this was going to happen. At all. But here you are. What you didn't know about yourself before that was that you liked to cuddle with things when you were asleep. So even though you were really far apart, when you fell asleep, Albedo saw you scooting closer in your sleep, reaching out and wrapping your arms around him. He laughed a bit, fond, and he was certainly going to tease you about this in the morning. Venti. You and Venti have known each other for a while now, and it was no surprise that this would come eventually. In fact, you were quite eager for it, and you were excited, and so was Venti. So, you had to rent somewhere, as Venti does not have a home, and you decided that your apartment wouldn't be the best place to start this, as the bed was too small. So you stayed over at the inn. Venti decided to play something for you at first, giggling a bit. Before he got down on the bed next to you, the two of you were quite nervous. Even Venti, but he didn't show it much as he did. But the nervousness was all the same, right there, as you were his first partner. Eventually, you decided to take the first step, scooting closer, and wrapping your arms around him, burying your face into his chest, as if that was the most normal thing for you to do. Venti found himself blushing and smiling, hugging you tighter, and closing his eyes, letting you melt in his embrace as he held you close to him. Scaramouche. He was probably the person that suggested the idea in the first place. He was clingy like a cat, and even though he was kind of shy on the inside, he was not afraid to voice his demands. And that's why you were invited to his room that night. And he was sitting there, legs folded. Come here, he said. He blushed a little bit, feeling confused. But then, he picked you up by the arms, getting you to sit down in his lap. One thing he noted was how you had a surprising amount of strength even for a small size. But you wouldn't say that to him. Eventually, he just laid back after hugging you for a bit. And you laid your head on his chest, laying on top of him as he stroked your hair. Quiet. Scaramouche was not usually this gentle, but right now, it was a quiet, precious moment between the two of you that you wanted to treasure. You didn't want to let go of this moment, and so you stayed quiet. Because you didn't know what to say, and Scaramouche was not the best with words. So you two just settled to hug each other, and you felt yourself dozing off. And maybe he pressed a little kiss to your forehead after he did, even though you thought you were dreaming. But it was all true. Xiao. It was completely unintentional. You were sick, and he was worried about you. and you two decided to drop off and feng shui in. He already had a room there. He didn't rent it or pay for it. Because he's an adeptus, and they want us to show appreciation for him. And also because he's kind of Charlie's son, so he has to get everything he wants. Lest you bother the Geo Archon. He put you down on the bed, sticking your forehead, and after he found out you had a fever, he sat next to you all night with a wet cloth in hand, trying to cool down your fever, and murmuring to you. You told him you wanted him to read a book to you, because his voice was comforting, and it might help you fall asleep. And so he did, checking up on you and reading to you, until he was exhausted, and he didn't notice himself, slowly getting sleepier and sleepier until it was too much, and he began dripping off, his head falling onto your shoulder as he fell asleep next to you, with the cloth still in his hand, and the book he was reading now on his chest. Kazuha, it was the first day of you moving in together. You're excited, but anxious. Kazuha has got an extra room for you just in case. But you two suggested trying this out, and if it didn't work this time, or if you got too shy, then perhaps today was just not it for you. So, after you two got ready, washed your teeth and did your sleeping routine or whatever you call it, you got into the bed. The two of you are blushing for a bit, not knowing what to do, before Kazuha slowly scooted closer to you and wrapped his arms around your waist, pulling you closer, and you shyly wrapped your arms around him, burying your face into his neck as he stroked your back gently. He stayed quiet for a bit, then murmured, "It's not so bad, is it?" He nodded at that, laughing. "It's not bad at all. I love you, Kazu." He smiled, kissing your cheek. "I love you too, Ion." That night, Kaza slept peacefully, without any nightmares, or much of his tossing and turning, just because you were holding him in his sleep.